what do you teach or practice in terms of diet and health? Some of you that know me are kind of laughing already, I think, but be the light of God. That's what's most important, more than dietary rules and laws of physics and anatomy and physiology and whatever else in this universe. So, long story short on that as best I can. I was born in different in so many ways, and one of them was food. I couldn't eat meat, yet I couldn't eat vegetables. I could only eat simple foods, mostly breads, grains, or whatever. So cereal and pizza is what I lived off of, and toast. Lots of toast and butter. Delicious, man. But anyway, that's it. I mean, that's what I did. I'm not telling you it's right or wrong. I'm telling you that's what I did. So I couldn't. They would try to give me noodles and put little bits of meat in there, and I would always find it and spit it out in my mouth. It would just not resonate. To this day, I only eat a little bit, a certain one or two types of meats. I've never had steak, never had fowl, never had, things out of the ocean and all that sort of thing. Maybe with one exception to all that. But never had turkey on your Thanksgiving days. Never had any of that. Never had roast. Not so much as even a bite of these things, or steak. It just never did it for me. Ham is another one. Never attracted to that. So I really didn't do meats, but I never did vegetables. And I've done this with some friends that didn't believe it. I dialed my mother, who was alive at the time, on a speakerphone, a conference call, so they could all hear. And I, hey mom, yeah, just act casual, set her up for some questions, and and they heard her straight up say, yeah, no, yeah, it's a funny thing, you just never ate vegetables. And friends were like, oh, you're kidding. So never ate any of that, and I lived and survived, and I'm quite healthy, throughout my life. More energy and more whatever than anybody you probably have ever known. Yet on what I've eaten, but I also never did coffee, never did alcohol. So it's the strangest thing, avoiding things that people think are unhealthy, but also not doing things that people think are healthy and necessary. All that said, if I were to do life over again, because recently I started experimenting with just a couple of veggies, and even though I have to soak them in butter to make them taste good to my palate, I would probably want to be, if I were doing it all over again, I would probably choose to be a vegetarian. It's a strange thing to say because there's only a few veggies I would eat, but I like the concept. See, just like the kid that learned to draw, just like the kid that likes, the kid and the adult that likes concepts and pictures. So I can't tell you it's because of laws and linear things. It's more of a feeling. And I love the feeling of gardening and people growing things. I didn't eat vegetables, but at my retreat that I owned through the 2000s, we had a lush garden that was planted and created by one or two people. Whatever you call, like a veggie garden or whatever. And God, I would go out there and just sit near the plants because they just smelled so fantastic. I just wasn't drawn to eat them, especially at the time. Still not ready for that, but it's something that I'm opening to. I'm not going to go full on with it, but I open to it a little bit, and that's kind of my take. But underneath all that, what you heard in my first comment and my personal experience, what you're hearing is that love comes first, loving yourself, loving people, and it gets you through. It sustains you through even foods that don't even seem to have any nutrients. So it's kind of strange, but that's my take. And some people are quite repulsed by that, and they get angry at me. How dare you? You're a hypocrite. You claim to be spiritual, but yet you're not a vegan or a whatever is the latest fad for people. I don't think they understand. I have no interest in their opinions, which is why I am healthy and alive and not needing certain foods, because there's God. God comes first, and Spirit sustains us. I'm not saying to make that claim and then be way off, like drugs and alcohol, and just say God will sustain me. You don't push the envelope. You don't test the Lord thy God, as is said in the old Hebrew traditions. But I do believe it. I do believe love comes first, love sustains, love conquers all, and so on. So, I know that some of you may not dig that or be able to hear that, but just try to understand that, and also try to appreciate that I'm still saying that if I were doing it over again, I do believe that I would go that other route. It's just how I feel about it. Okay.